Hey everybody, hi there. Welcome, Jackie here. I'm trying to figure out how to not put my thumb over the camera. And so let me just make a few adjustments here. There we go. Okay, I didn't know I only had to do this in landscape mode. So welcome, ladies and gents that are creeping on our channel. I am holding this broadcast in Nashville. I'm here with Michael because his son Nick is getting married, and we're here to get to know the parents and spend a little time checking out the venues and all of that good stuff. And I'm just gonna hold my phone up because honestly, it's not a great angle. There we go. Okay, and so welcome. I wanted to make this video for you because I think it's so important to, you hear a lot about like dating high value and what that actually means and what that looks like. And I think it's really important that we really dive deeper into it. In fact, I would love your comments and feedback on if you think it's a good idea to do this all month long, the month of June, talking about what that really means, the mindset around dating high value, and how that can really, how you can really apply these principles in real life, and the results you're going to get because of it. And so I made some notes here, but I'm just going to kind of start off by speaking from my heart. I am in the hallway of our hotel. We're staying at the Thompson Hotel in Nashville, and we just got in a few minutes ago, so I just kind of threw this together for you. But I really love this idea of being high value, dating the high value. Hey there, hi Michelle, welcome. And just because I really consider myself high value, but let me tell you what, if you knew my background in terms of how I grew up poor. I grew up economically challenged. I was one of 6 siblings. My mother raised us all. You would think, okay, that doesn't mean high value, but that's the point. And why I'm sharing that with you, it's because it doesn't matter. Your external circumstances cannot define your value. You get to define your value. And so you need to start doing that right away, because take it from somebody like me, what I just shared with you is if I was to use my upbringing to determine my value, I'd be in big trouble, right? And so I really want to encourage all of you to take to heart what I'm going to share with you. And so determining your value really comes from being your own best friend. That's right. You need to show up for you, and you need to show up for yourself on a consistent basis. I know that we have friends and we have siblings and we're close to people, but when we continuously depend on others to tell us who we are, to encourage us, we all need encouragement, don't get me wrong. What I mean is that at the end of the day, you need to be there for yourself. You need to be your own best friend. And if you're not consistently doing that, then it's going to be a problem for you, and it's going to come through in the men that you attract and the dates that you have. And so I am my own best friend. At the bottom line is that what I think about myself and what I believe to be true is really, I might take my friends' feedback on a situation when I need their counsel, but at the end of the day, I already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the decision that's going to be best for me. Because I know in the long run, when I make those decisions that are best for me, then whatever road I'm on, I know I'm on the right road. And it may be difficult, may be challenging, but I know that I can do that I can walk that walk. So I'll start out with a couple like principles, and it's really a mindset, but it's more than a mindset. I've heard people talking about high value is a mindset. It's more than a mindset. It has to be internal so that it can be external. Sure, it can be in your mind. You can have the 7 traits of a high quality woman, but if you aren't actually able to apply those traits because they're not a part of your fiber, your being, then it doesn't matter what those traits are, because you can't live them. You can't walk that talk. And so approval, that is the first thing I'm going to say about being high value. We get so stuck on approval, and I do too. I fall for that occasionally, fall into that approval trap where we're looking to others to give us that nod, that okay, that we're okay, that what we're doing is okay or worthwhile. And when we hold that space for other people, we really do ourselves a big disservice, because real approval can only come from you, can only come from within. And when you come from a place of real, genuine approval of yourself, men notice. And and when it comes to looks in dating, sure, looks are important, obviously, right? We love looking at beautiful things, men and women alike. And that gets you in the door maybe, but it doesn't keep you in the room. What keeps you in the room is your own genuine approval of yourself, because you're going to meet in life a lot of people that don't approve of you, right? There's going to be people that disagree with you, that don't approve of you, that have compete with you, that are jealous of you, that whatever want to sabotage you. Hopefully you don't have those people in your life, but you're going to encounter those type of people throughout your life. And it always comes back to how you feel about yourself. And yes, looks help, but they don't sustain a relationship. They don't sustain a dating relationship. Once you get in the door with your good looks, you've got to have some backbone. And that's what this is really about. The high value is about having backbone. It's about having your own principles and standards, and not giving those standards and principles up for a man, for anybody for that matter, but especially for a man, because that's the fastest way to turn him off, by the way. And it's also because you won't go far in life, and you will struggle because every time something happens, somebody doesn't approve of you, then you're back to square one. You're starting over at every point. So you have to learn to approve of yourself, and you have to throw some gutter balls in the process. You're not going to be perfect in doing that. Hi, Jane. So glad you're here. It's not easy. This is called the road less traveled, and it's not the easiest road, but it's the most rewarding and most fulfilling road. And that's why I'm taking it, because I'm all about having a genuine life experience, because the first half of my life was really superficial and shallow, and that's how I learned everything that I'm teaching you. I already did all the other side. Now I'm over here on the authenticity, living an authentic life. So approval is a big thing. So you have to work through your approval issues and come to terms with the fact that not everybody's going to agree with you, like you, get you, and it doesn't matter. Who cares? That's actually a really empowering word I want to share with you right now. I share it with my clients all the time, and I'm like, okay, get ready, get your pens ready, get ready to write this down, because this is going to be life-changing. It's going to change your whole life. And so here's what's going to change your whole life. This one phrase, two words. Who cares? Use it more. Use it all the time. Use it frequently. That's your new mantra. Who cares? Who cares? Because if you care what everybody else cares, then you are going to take the long, arduous road. And it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. It only matters what you think. And when you're talking about dating, quality men, the one thing about quality men is they're looking for a woman who marches to her own beat. That's really going to be important. So I've got some people that are going to be coming by, so I'm going to pause for a minute. Oh, they're stopping. So the next thing on my list that I want to share with you. Okay, good. Who cares? Good, Jane. You go, girl. The next one is dating high quality is you have to be happy on your own. You need to discover that sweet spot in life where you recognize that happiness is it's an inside job. It's your job. It's not a man's job to make you happy. That's the icing on the cake. You are happy when you're not looking to others for approval. So they're all connected, right? Everything's connected. When you're not looking to others for approval, you really are much happier, because when people don't approve of you, you can take an emotional dip that can take you out for weeks, months, years, decades. When you're happy on your own, you're living life recognizing that you're responsible for all your choices. And that I love that word. When you're responsible and responsible for your whole life, it's going to get a whole lot better, because you get to decide, and you realize you have choices and opportunities at every turn. And that's how you can be ultimately happy on your own, to accept that you have chosen every choice that you've made, and they've given you the consequences you've had. And sometimes that's a hard nut to swallow, but that's how we mature. That's how we get our stripes in life. That's how we become wise women. And so accept the fact that you've made some bad choices. It's okay. That's how you learn. Those are what I call gutter balls. And so learn to be happy on your own while you're in the process of meeting your next great love affair. And I have to tell you, we're staying in a hotel, and Nashville is a big party town. The first thing that we encountered when we pulled up is when I looked out at the street after we checked in, there was a truck pulling a big trailer, and it was like a cattle trailer, and there was like 30 men in it partying. And that was like, wow, I've never seen that before. No, that's okay. I thought that was really funny. So yeah, this is the big party town. I'm just discovering that. And so being happy on your own, getting back to what I was sharing with you. I'm really happy on my own. I actually love, working. I love being on my own. I love traveling alone. I really like my own company. And unless I'm hanging out with a friend who's where I am emotionally, I'd rather be alone because it's easier. There's not a lot of collateral damage, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a lot of anyways, what I'm saying is that I like being on my own because because I'm really fun, by the way, and I always want to have a good time. And so traveling by myself, I'm with Michael, of course, but I make choices so that I know I'm going to have the type of experience that I want to have. And a lot of times that's going places like going to conventions, going to, when I was single, going out by myself, going to meetups by myself. It's easier because you can control your environment in terms of your mood and the impression you want to make. So if you're surrounding yourself by people that are bringing you down or that don't have the same zest for life like I do, go by yourself. You're gonna show up in who you are, and they're not going to cast a little bit of a shadow on that. And so happy on your own, that's one of the qualities that men are looking for when you're talking about dating. Hi Clay, welcome. And so the next thing is, in terms of dating high quality, is rejection. You know by now you're going to be, hi Amy, good to have you here. I'm gonna have to reposition myself because my feet are falling asleep. There we go. So when you're talking about rejection, you know in life that we're all gonna experience a certain amount of rejection. Just get over it already, I'm doing a little truth serum here. Not everybody's gonna like you, and that's okay. You don't need everybody to like you. You just need one guy to like you. You don't need everybody's approval. You don't need everybody to like you. We're all different and unique, and we all have different flavors that we like. Our preferences. That's okay. That's what makes us unique. Stop trying to please everyone. It's not necessary, and it makes you turn too vanilla. You can stand out. You can be. They broke the mold when you were born. Start accepting your divinity, your uniqueness, the way that you are. That's it's so special. And so that being said, men are going to reject you, but remember, I always say it's a redirection. It's not a rejection. They're just redirecting you. It just wasn't meant to be. They don't get you, and you don't want to be with somebody that doesn't get you. Believe me, the man that gets you, it's going to be a great, fun ride, and that's what life needs to be, a great, fun ride. It's a big experience, and you have to pair yourself with somebody who really gets you so you can be the fullness of who you are, and who you are is fabulous. And so you've got to get over this idea of that people are rejecting you. You're just not their cup of tea. And so go find somebody who sees you really mesh with, you really get along, and they really get you. And you don't have to change who you are, and you don't have to tone it down, and you don't have to do it different because they really like the way you are. So the next piece of dating high quality, and this is all a vibe, by the way, that you put out by showing up, having all of these inner traits, inner characteristics. Yes, it can be a mindset, but that's also external. It's got to come from within. It's got to be internalized and emotionalized, and that's what is going to to really dictate how you show up in life and on dates. And so self-love, that's a given, right? You got to learn to love yourself. It's so interesting that we don't learn and don't know how to love ourselves. And we actually have to like hire somebody to teach us how to love ourselves. Isn't that crazy? But I had to do it, and you might have to do it too. And I hope you're doing that on a daily basis, because loving yourself is the epitome of high quality. Accepting yourself for all of your, your traits, your so-called flaws. I have a hearing, I wear hearing aids. I have a hearing impairment, and I still love myself. So what, right? So what? It's just something that I'm dealing with. It doesn't define me. And sometimes I can't hear things, and I have to ask, what'd you say? Or sometimes I even respond back because in the wrong way, because I thought I heard them say something, and I just have to go, oh, well, so what? And I'm doing the best I can, right? DMB, do my best. You're doing your best. And that has to be good enough. So you've got to love yourself. You have to put yourself first. This is the big one, because a lot of people think that putting yourself first makes you selfish. Hi, Marcel. It's hard to read the screen here because I'm down here sitting in front of the bench in a hallway with a little ring light so that I could do this broadcast. Michael we did a rock, scissor, paper to see who had the room, because he's in a 2-hour meeting, and I lost. Otherwise, I would be in there. So that's why I'm out here, and that's okay. Put yourself first. Ladies, please start putting yourself first. OMG. It's so pathetic when we don't put ourselves first, and we're sacrificing so much. It's not attractive. It's not necessary. And just stop doing that. And it's not selfish. It's actually really, really smart. You put yourself first in your rest, in your diet, in your alcohol intake, leaving when you need to, going to sleep when you need to, saying no when you need to. Because when you do that, then you can be all that you can be. You have the energy, you have the resources, the capacity, you have the personality. When you sell yourself out and you don't put yourself first, you show up with a cup half full, an empty tank. And then who are you serving? Who are you serving? Rock, paper, scissors to get the room. That's right. That's how we roll. We're really fair. We're a fair couple. So putting yourself first is so important. It's putting that oxygen mask on yourself. If you're on an airplane, it's going down, you've got kids. If you pass out, you can't help them, right? That's the same analogy. So put the oxygen mask on yourself first. I've got a little list here that I made in the room so I wouldn't lose my train of thought, because I'm on a roll. And when I get on a roll, I can lose my train of thought. So I've got my little notes. The other thing is just knowing having clarity around what you want out of a relationship. I can't tell you how many women go into a relationship not really clear. And so what happens, you end up dating all the duds, you end up going through men, a lot of men, you're, 1 or 2 dates, and because you aren't clear on what you want, or you're lowering your standards. So you need to get really clear, crystal clear, and dating does provide that. So there is some value in married and dating a bunch of duds, because they teach you that you don't want that. But you have to really know what you want and go for it, and not being afraid to go for what you want in life, because that's a high value. Follow your dreams, because that's when you meet somebody who's following their dreams, it's so attractive. You're like, I want whatever they're eating or whatever they're having. I want some of that, because we all want to have that kind of passion. We want to live that intensely, that passionately, that organically, that authentically. Yes, there we go. I got it. We all want that. That's like, that zest for life is just so appealing. And that comes from following your dreams, following your heart. Even if people don't approve of you, even if people say you can't do that, you're like, watch me. That's what I say. I'm like, watch me do it. When I was in Maui, I'll tell you a little story. I was talking to some friends of mine. I was married then, and we were at a fundraiser for whatever, blah, blah. And I was talking to some of my friends, and And I said, I'm really bored. I had my kids, they were growing up, and I wasn't working at the time. I was blessed to be a stay-home mom for a period of time, and I think that was awesome. And then I was like, I'm feeling really bored. I was talking to my friend Chuck, he owned 14 radio stations, and he said, why don't you come work on the radio? And I'm like, I will. I would love to do that. And he said, no, really, come down. And I'm like, I will. I'm going to come down on Monday. He said, come down and pitch me something. And I just said, Chuck, I'm going to come down and pitch something to you because I'm going to do this. And he said, okay, I'll see you Monday. So I showed up Monday morning and I pitched him my plan to lasso the extreme sports scene from the surf to the dirt and everywhere in between. I've got you covered. That was my slogan. And so I decided I was going to go interview all the extreme sports athletes and windsurfers and kiteboarders and people at golf and the Mercedes Championship, because I used to drive around Maui and go, where are all these flags flying? There are beaches and there's events and nobody knew what was going on. So I decided I'm going to piece it all together for the people of Maui, and I'm going to show up and do this radio feed. I had never done any radio. I didn't know what I was doing, had zero experience, none. So the first job, Chuck said, okay, go down there and the Red Bull needs you to cover their event. I'm like, Red Bull? Excuse me while I throw up. But I went down there and I'm like, hey, got my media pass and I'm wacky Jackie coming at you. And I'm gonna, from the surf to the dirt. And then one of my people, was a big time wave surfer, very famous, blah, blah. She said, you can't do that. Can't do that, Jackie. You don't know anything about this. And I was like, it really started to pull the rug out from under me. I'm like, I can't do this. And I don't know anybody. And I don't know what I'm talking about. And she was right. I don't know anybody. I don't know. I had just barely started to learn to surf. I don't really know about the waves that much and the tides. And I don't know about the wind. And I was starting to feel zero confidence. And she'd said this right before I was going to go on the air. And she was feeling really jealous and threatened, so she was trying to pull me down. And I was like, you know what? I got this. I can do it. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to get out there and I'm going to ask the experts, the windsurfers and the kiteboarders and the famous people. Let them tell their story. So I would just interview them. So I went out there and I got on the radio and I did my first radio broadcast. And I was like, you know what? That's the thing. I did it. I believed in myself. I didn't have any experience. I just lobbed it out there. And it was the best time I ever had in my whole life. Interviewing people like that. They're just passion-driven people. And I was in the right place, certainly at the right time. But that's the thing. You need to believe in yourself. And I went on to do this for several years and had my whack pack, all my kids that followed me around, and I put them on the radio and mentored them, and just like I'm doing all of you. And somebody told me I couldn't do that. So there's going to be people in your life that are going to tell you can't do that, and you don't know what you're doing. And you know what? Don't listen to them, because they don't know who you are. You just have to know who you are. If you know who you are down deep, you have the courage to follow that inner urging, the passion, the dreams you have. That's going to make a man stand up and notice. Everybody's going to notice, because we all want to be around people that excite us, that get us excited about believing in ourselves. And so I hope that this was helpful. I think I covered my short list. I think we should spend the entire month of June talking about being high value. I think that'd be really valuable to all of you. And so I've got some people coming down here. So what I want to do is see if I can look at the chat here. Some messages. All messages are visible. Okay, I'm going to see if I can find the messages here, because this is the first time I've done it on my phone, and I don't think I can. Oh wait, here we go. Sorry, ladies and gents. I'm just, I don't know if I can do Q&A. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do, though. If you could, I'm going to go through the Q&A after the call, after this live, and I will answer all the questions in the comment section. And I just want to remind you to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss all the high value conversation we're going to have in June. And then I want you to leave a suggestion for a topic. This was actually a suggestion. I did last week I did the opposite of this, and somebody posted in the comments, will you do the opposite, talk about dating high value? And I'm like, great idea. So the suggestion for this video was from one of you, and I really appreciate that, because I'd rather make videos that you want me to make instead of just coming up with topics on my own that may not be relevant. I would prefer to do things that are going to serve you, and what exactly is that? So I know that this isn't my best lighting, but again, who cares, right? I'm just wanting to deliver the content and support all of you, and encourage you to show up for yourself, be your best friend. Sorry I can't answer questions, because I know there's so many of you on this call too. I don't see where, so maybe not on the phone. Let me see, member chat, super chat, all messages are visible. Okay, well, I DMB again. Want another joint Michael Jaki show? Joint Michael Jaki show. Oh, okay. I'll tell Michael that. I don't know if I want to give him too much of my limelight. His hair tends to drown me out. You know, when we go out, Clay and ladies, the women are flocking to my husband, and I love it. And they're always like, "Oh, your hair," and I'm over there in the background. It's so cute. But yeah, lol, I know, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. And so, anyway, I digress. So I'm going to read the comments, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the high value conversations we're gonna have in June. Thank you for being here, all of you. And sorry about the broadcast here in terms of where I'm at, but I'm dedicated to all of you. I said I would show up, and I always show up, and that's a big part of being high value as well. I'll leave you with that. You make commitments, you got to keep them, unless you have a really good reason not to, of course, and that's okay. But show up, be dependable, be courageous, be yourself. All the other roles are taken. So thank you all for being here. Sending you all so much love. I will see you next Thursday. I'll come up with another angle, and we're gonna just break down being high value, because you need to start showing up for yourself, because that's going to attract a quality man much faster than when you're playing the imposter syndrome. Okay, sending you lots of love. Bye-bye.